Last week, we put up a story on Instagram where we asked you guys about awkward customer service situations that you have personally been put in and how you responded to it. So we thought it'd be fun for us to make a video on how we would personally deal with these awkward situations that we're put in with our clients. So to do this, Tate's gonna go ahead and ask me all the questions that you guys have asked on our story. And by the way, if you don't follow us on Instagram, it's just at Lash Artists, and we post stuff like this all the time. And the more you interact with us, the more content we can bring to you that you wanna see. So go ahead, if you like this video or our videos in general, click that like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you can always be reminded when we post new videos.
So the first question I have here is, my client has damaged natural lashes but insists on getting dramatic lashes anyways. She told me my old tech would do it and is very persistent. How would you personally deal with this problem?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I've definitely been in this situation before. Firstly, in the beginning, it's really hard to turn away clients because we're obviously trying to build our business. But the truth is, we cannot compromise the integrity of our clients' lashes in order to give them what they want. And if we really get in there and explain to our clients about the damage that can be caused and really show them, like, here's what your lashes look like, here's my diameter chart, here's what your lashes can hold. If I put lashes that are too thick or too long on your natural lashes, then you're gonna end up with bald spots, or you're gonna end up with permanent damage. And what could end up happening is that you may not have any lashes at all to lash, and we definitely don't want that. So it is my responsibility to make sure that your lashes stay super healthy. And I find that once I explain this to my client in detail and really explain the process of lash extensions to them, then they're always understanding. On top of that, you can always give them something that they do want. So let's say a client has really weak natural lashes. If you show them photos of what is achievable, then they can get involved and help pick a set that's suitable for them and their natural lashes, and will keep those natural lashes really strong. For example, if your client really likes length, then maybe you tone down the drama of density just a little bit. And if your client likes density, maybe you go for a more dense set that's a much shorter length.
How do I deal with my client who consistently has retention issues when the rest of my clients are totally fine and never complain about retention problems with me?
So firstly, what we do here is we have a retention checklist. If you're unfamiliar with what this is, we actually made a video of it. It's on our Instagram TV. If you need the link, reach out or just head onto our Instagram TV to check it out. But on top of that, if you're not experiencing retention with any other clients, but just this one in particular, it could be many things. Firstly, your client may not be aware of it, but maybe they're touching their lashes a lot. If they're touching their lashes, even when they're at work, they're doing things, whatever, they don't notice that they're touching them, but the oils from their fingers may act as a remover. So that could be happening. Another thing is maybe they pick their lashes and they're just a little bit embarrassed about talking about it. Could be it. They could sleep on their face, and when they sleep on their face, the oils from the skin could be getting onto the lashes, causing poor retention. Or let's say they do something like hot yoga, or they avidly work out, or something like that. All of these things can be contributing. On top of that, if it's not what they're doing, it could just be as simple as the lashes that are being used are too heavy for the natural lash. With this said, if you've done your checklist and the retention is still not there for that particular client, unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to please everyone. Some clients are just gonna have poor retention, and that is out of your control.
So next question, what do I do if one of my clients is dissatisfied with the lashes I gave them and wants a refund?
Okay, I've experienced this before as well. And because I've experienced this, I've really figured out how to handle the situation. So the first thing that I do is try my best to be as open and honest with my clients during consultation as I possibly can be. This makes it so I know that I'm giving the client exactly what I promised and exactly what was in fact achievable for that client. So this way then there's no holy smokes, I wasn't expecting my lashes to look like this, because I've really went in there and explained exactly what I was gonna do before I did it. On top of that, I also have it written in my consent form that lashes are non-refundable. With that said, every now and again, someone's just super unhappy and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's not worth tarnishing your business and having them speak out publicly about how much they hate their lashes when you should have probably just given them a refund. But you don't want others to think that you're just openly able to give a refund, because people will probably take advantage of you. So instead of that, what I do is, if you're unhappy with your lashes, if you let me know within the first couple of days, no problem, come in, I'll remove your lashes, and I will in fact give your money back. But it has to be within the first 24 to 48 hours, otherwise it is non-refundable.
How do I deal with a customer who has a reaction to the products that I use on them?
For every single client who comes to see me, at their first initial appointment with me, I go so in detail about what a reaction looks like, so that the client isn't left unsure if this is normal or not after getting lash extensions, and they truly understand what this looks like for them. Next thing that I do is, at that same appointment, I explain to them what it would look like if a reaction was to occur. So for these clients, I have them come back in right away. I say, if you experience any sort of reaction or discomfort or anything within the first 24 hours of getting your extensions, please reach out to me. I will make sure that I find a space for you to come back in and get those removed immediately. Because the longer you leave the lashes with that reaction occurring, the worse it gets. So you wanna make sure you get them in ASAP, because once those eyes swell up, it is so hard to get the remover to the base of the extension in order to do a proper removal without seriously irritating the skin. So sooner is definitely better for that. And if you want a video on reactions, we've made one. It's in, again, our Instagram TV. You gotta go down pretty far to find it, but if you can't find it, let us know.
I have a few clients who are close friends of mine. How do I approach the fact that they're expecting a discount, but I can't afford to give out discounts all the time?
Okay, I get that. So that happened to me in the beginning, and the truth is, at the beginning of my lash career, most of my clients were my friends or family. So I found that it was this awkward thing where I was always saying, don't worry about it, and they were like, oh, should I tip you? And it was just uncomfortable for everyone. So here's what I found that worked. I had a chat with everyone. It was awkward, but it was definitely helpful, where I said, hey guys, what do you think about me making a consistent price list for friends and family, where I personally gave 15% off of any service that they got. So if they were getting a full set, fill, whatever. 15% off for everyone that I loved and cared about. And this worked really well. And what I actually found was they were more excited to support me, and they wanted to actually help me grow my business. So it was really great for everyone.
I know it's time for me to increase my prices, but I'm nervous about how my clients will react. What are your suggestions on raising my prices?
So this is definitely a question that is asked pretty aggressively within the lash industry, and I feel like every single person you talk to will have a different answer. My personal opinion and how I've run my business, that's worked really well for me. And again, it's different for everyone. So if you do something differently, that's totally fine. But how I chose to run my business was, if I raised my prices, my standing clients who have been with me since, say, the beginning, they always get the same price that they used to get. And then the clients who are new get that new pricing that I've made. With that said, what I did for clients who had come to see me for a long time and then they stopped for like a year, when they came back, my prices were different and they got the new prices. And I just had a conversation with them about how my prices had changed, and they were totally fine with it. But it's really important that you be open and honest in the beginning, because say someone comes to see you again after a year of not seeing you, and then at the end of the service, you pop this new price on them and they get a little bit confused because they're used to paying a certain amount. Remember to definitely have that conversation at the beginning or before the service instead of after, just to save awkwardness. And it's a nice thing to add in too, if you want to take it a little bit further with your clients and just explain to them why your prices are raising. Say you are now using higher quality products, or you used to be a beginner artist and now you're an advanced artist, or you're offering brand new skills. Just being honest with them about whatever your reasoning is for raising your prices.
I have a client who shows up to every single lash appointment with dirty, gross lashes. How should I confront them about this matter?
Great question. We actually have another video on this that really dives into lash mites that's pretty interesting to watch. But I've dealt with this many times with good girlfriends, with people that I barely knew, and the truth is, it is so hard to get through to some clients that they have to clean their lashes, because to someone who doesn't understand lash extensions, aka our clients, not all, but some, it's really hard for them to wrap their head around when their lashes look so good, but then they give a really good clean and lashes fall out because they're shedding. So they just are like, no way, I like my lashes better when they're not clean. But what they don't understand is that they're causing super bad damage to their natural lashes and that follicle underneath their extensions. So what I do, I don't know how morbid or awful this is, but I take a picture of their lashes and zoom in so close that they can see the filth that is around their lash base. And I just show them, hey, this is what's happening. Here's a lash mite. Here's what's going on inside of this filth. And if you don't start really getting in there and cleansing that lash line, then serious damage can occur. And I'll scare them. I'll show them the truth of what could happen in the future. And then I'm gentle with them. I get on it right away. As soon as I see that buildup, I'm like, hey, this is what's happening. Here's what's gonna happen if you don't do it, but it's not an issue right now. Just make sure that you really take care of it. And then you go ahead and you upsell a product, but not only do you upsell a product, the lash bath, but you also upsell a cleansing brush. Why the cleansing brush is important, especially for volume and mega volume services, is because those lashes are so densely packed on that lash line that if you don't have a fine bristled brush like this, then you're not gonna get all the way in around that base, and using just water is not going to work. You really need to get in around that lash line and make sure that every bit of that buildup is cleaned every day.
So a few of my clients have caught on to the fact that they can now book fills to save money even though they really need a full set. How would you suggest I convince them they need to pay for a full set without losing them as a client?
First thing I try to do is pre-book all of my clients. So when they're at their appointment, I say, hey, we need a fill at 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the client and the service, obviously. And I get that locked in. And then if they miss that appointment, I just let them know in a text message or on the phone before they come in that by pushing the appointment, they may have to pay more for the service. That seems to work really well for me. Another thing is, this definitely happened to me in the beginning as well, where clients weren't willing to pre-book. They knew my schedule was fairly open because I was pretty new, and they kind of took advantage of that. And they knew I was trying to build a business. So they would come in and they would have like 7 lashes left, and they were like, they lasted really well up until just the last few days. And I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. This appointment, and I have a one chance rule that works really well, but I'm like, okay, no problem. I didn't explain this to you well enough initially. So what I'm gonna do is today, I'm gonna give you a full set basically for the price of a fill, but I just wanna let you know that the reason why we book within this time frame is because the lashes are all good, but we still need 50% retention. And at 50% retention, they should look good. Your lashes should always look good. So we need you to come in within this time frame so that it doesn't cost more. So next time, if you do come in, if you do stretch it like this, then we will have to charge you a little bit more, but for this one time, I'm gonna give you the fill price. People are usually really respectful of that, and then they know where the boundaries lie and they don't really cross them.
So next question, I've got a client that has to go. Do you have any tips on how to fire or break up with a client?
Actually, I've broken up with clients before, and it's been really awkward, but it gets easier. Every single client, the first time it's really awkward, the second time it's a little less awkward, and then you don't mind anymore. But the truth is, you are not going to make every single client in the world happy. Not every person is meant to be your lash client. That's why there's people down the street who do lashes and up the street who do lashes, and they have their own clients. Obviously, we want to do our best job, but certain clients you just can't please. Like, for example, I had a client a while back who had really damaged, really weak natural lashes, and she kept wanting more and more and more and kept complaining and wanting to come back and have me make them darker, even though I really clearly explained that I couldn't possibly do that for her. So for this client, after about, I would say 4 or 5 fills of her being completely dissatisfied and me not willing to put my name on the line and damage her lashes, I decided it was time to let her go. She was not happy. But I had to be honest and just say, look, I adore you as a person. I love spending time around you. Unfortunately, I'm not the lash artist for you. And the reason why is because I know you want more and I can't possibly give you more out of lashes than I already have. I would love to have you come back if you want to try out a couple other artists. If you feel comfortable coming back and being open to my lash limitations, then I will happily welcome you back in. But at this point, I feel like I'm just not able to meet your lash needs. And it worked really well. She was unhappy. She never came back, so I'm sure she found someone who was willing to do more for her, or maybe it was just awkward, I don't know, but it was great, and it felt a lot better to not have her than to have the stress of having her as a client.
I've been lashing for a few years now, and the lash burnout is real. Have you ever felt this way? And if so, how did you get past it?
So I would say December, mostly every lash artist has a burnout, so that's pretty standard, and it's kind of unavoidable if you want to really blast through December and make as much money as possible. But on a weekly basis, I would say my biggest tips would be to really care about yourself. You have to eat throughout the day. You have to drink lots of water. Have water on the side of your station. I know it's easy to drink coffee throughout the day, but definitely also drink water and lots of it, and make sure that you schedule in lunch, because for a long time, I didn't do that, and I would find that I would get so immersed in lashing that I would just forget to eat, and by the end of the day I was burnt out and so exhausted. And I would say that would be my biggest tip, is to make sure that you're really caring for yourself and putting that at the top of the list, because if you don't care for yourself, how can you care for anyone else?
Next question. I'm super excited to be getting new clients, but sometimes they come in for fill appointments where I have to take over other artists' work, and the work is super duper bad. How would you recommend filling a bad set without bashing the previous artist's work?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna kind of switch it up just a little bit and go into detail about, firstly, how I take over other artists' work. And without bashing them, what I end up doing is getting them to come in for a consultation or send photos of their lashes really up close so I can see what I'm dealing with. More often than not, at least in our city, it's a pretty small city, so I know mostly all the artists who are around. Or if a client says they came from here, then I know that the lashes are either something that I will take over or something that I will not take over. But if you're not comfortable enough with the people around you, then maybe it's a great idea to just get them to come in for a quick consultation and be open and honest with them, and let them know that the possibility does exist that you may have to remove the lashes before you begin a full set, because some work is just really hard to take over when it's coming from someone else. People usually understand that, but as long as you're open and honest about it before they come in, and then you charge them for a removal and a full set. So I just like to be as open and honest as I can with these clients before I actually begin working on them. And then when it comes to how I fill other people's work, so if the artist's work is good enough, isolation is there, glue control is there, all the box have been ticked, then it's no problem for me to take over someone else's work. As long as the artist is educated enough to do a great job. You can kind of be honest with your clients about the level of work that this artist has without kind of like throwing them under the bus. You can just say, this is unfortunately not up to my standards. Here's the kind of work that I like to take over. Unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable working with this artist's work, but if you're okay with it, I'd like to do a removal and then move on to a full set, and people are usually okay with that.
Caitlin, how do you deal with clients who come back again and again with sizzled off lashes?
So I've had this happen tons with clients, especially if they work in a kitchen or they're doing a lot of saunas or going to fires or whatever. But for these clients, I try to be super open with them in the beginning during consultation, just let them know what could happen if they care for their lashes like this, or if they don't care for their lashes. And people usually understand that. And then when they come in just one time with sizzled lashes, I'm like, oh, it looks like something happened, and just explain what they look like and where it maybe is coming from. And for the most part, people get it right away, and they will try their best to take better care of them at home. I've had clients who literally wear goggles when they're barbecuing and stuff, and it is hilarious. I actually have photos of clients wearing this because they send it to me because they think it's hilarious. Or glasses in their kitchen. They're like over the stove with a big pair of glasses on. That kind of stuff actually works. But let's say your client is confused because, say, they used to have classic lashes and now they're moving to volume, and now that they have these finer diameter lashes, this is happening over and over and over again. The reason for this is just because those finer diameter lashes like 0.03, 0.05, 0.07 are just more susceptible to damage. So if they're used to caring for them at this standard, now they have to care for them even higher. So they have to put more work into at-home care. Just being open with our clients about this is a really big deal.
Do you have any tips to deal with clients who are constantly running late? Reminding them how important it is to show up on time doesn't seem to work for me lately.
So if you are the kind of artist who wants to do their very best job, then you're probably the kind of artist that will move their schedule around for this particular client. And the more that you do that, and the more that you kind of show them that it's okay, even though you don't feel like it's okay, then the more they'll do it and they'll push those boundaries. Take. So I definitely did that for a really long time, where I would just be like, oh no, it's okay. And I would ask my next client to come in a little bit later and so on. But after a while, I was like, you know what? No, this is not okay. So I started telling clients that if they were late, no problem, but it would still be a fill price because I actually priced by my time, and they unfortunately wouldn't get as many lashes filled as they should. So I would get them to come in for sooner appointments, and then they would end up having to pay more for their lashes when they weren't getting as much. I found that worked really well because people don't like to spend more money than they have to, but if they're always getting away with something, then they will push those boundaries. So again, just going back to the boundaries thing, just be open and honest with your clients and let them know what your expectations are and what is going to happen if they don't follow your rules, I guess. But I do find I always give that one chance. So the first time I'm like, okay, it's totally fine this time, but next time this is what's gonna happen. And people usually respect it.
No-shows are starting to feel like they are breaking my business. How can I deal with clients who cancel again and again and expect to get in the next day or next appointment with me still?
That was for sure one of the most frustrating things about my lash business in the beginning, and I felt like people just didn't value my time. That definitely does come later. Once you build a good clientele, that'll stop happening. I would say some people would argue and say that this is where a cancellation policy comes into play and where you charge clients who don't show up X amount for missed appointments. But I've never personally done that, and I've kind of just let clients go who have been that way. I've always viewed business as the quality of my services and of my clients over the quantity. That seemed to work really well for me. So let's say a client no-shows an appointment. Again, that one chance rule. I'm like, okay, no problem. This time we can move your appointment. Here's what I have available. Maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's in a week or whatever. But here's what I have available. Just want to let you know that next time I am down to move your appointment, but I do need that 24 hours notice so that I'm not sitting around and I can fill your space. And clients are pretty respectful of that. And if they're not, then unfortunately, they're probably not the client for you.
Okay, last and final question. How should I explain the expectations of a fill to my clients?
So firstly, my standard fill is about 50% retention, and usually that means a customer is gonna come see me from every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the customer, their natural lash count, and all that stuff. But on top of that, let's say a client has a strip lash look. For someone who has a strip lash look, I require them to come see me every week. So I wanna make sure that I'm setting that client up for their lashes to always look good. So I wanna let them know that, okay, this particular type of lash set, you're not gonna be the client who comes in at 4 weeks. You have to be the client who comes in at 1 week. But let's say I get to know my client better and I see that their lashes last so well. Then I can have another conversation with them and say, your lashes are lasting so well, I think we can move you from a 2 to 3 week fill or a 1 to 2 week fill to say a 3 to 4 week fill, and then we can go with that. I just am always revisiting my fills with my clients and being honest with them about what the pricing will be like if they choose X, Y, or Z. I guess to compact that into a nutshell and make it really easy for clients to understand is just by saying, hey, the more lashes you come in with for a fill, and the better you take care of your lashes at home, the less money it's gonna cost you at a fill. The less lashes you have, the more it's gonna cost. The truth is, your client probably wants their lashes to look bomb all the time, so they will make that extra effort to come in and fill them as long as you let them know what is expected.
Okay, and I think those were all the questions we had today. Yes.
Okay, sweet, I am sweating. That was a lot of questions. Guys, we would love to hear what videos you would like us to see and make videos just for you. So let us know. Thanks so much for watching.